He's Stonebraker and he does stuff, yeah. Feel the hum of the wheels out there. Not perfect, but he dares to dream. Hit that subscribe, make that bell scream.
What's up, YouTube? Stonebraker does stuff, and I'm pretty sure I just started the video directly in someone's private property, but this is pretty cool, so I'll kind of tell you where I'm at. But I like this, that there's a huge hill, and then right when you go down this huge hill, you go into this teeny tiny town. And hopefully the DJI mic is controlling this wind, because it is pretty loud when you're going 30 miles an hour down a huge hill. Rosedale, that's right. Today I'm in the big city for the first time ever of Rosedale, Indiana, and today's date is March 8th, 2026. And before we go any further, let me go ahead and get my Strava pulled up, and I'll kind of tell you what we're doing out here today in a town, probably the smallest town I've ever ridden in, but I like that. I love the vibe of riding in super tiny towns, even smaller than mine. I believe this town is about like 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes south of me, and it looks like they've got their own little mural there. It's pretty cool. Next to a police station, so they got their own police station. All right, guys, but let me get this Strava pulled up, and I'll quit delaying it. And perfect. All right. So Rosedale, Indiana, super populated town. I don't know what the exact population is, but I will put that somewhere down here in editing. But it is a pretty decent day for a Sunday. During the week, we had a lot of rain, which was to be expected. A lot of fog, which was not to be expected. I was totally preparing to get murdered by a zombie or something like that. It was totally Resident Evil / Silent Hill type of fog. It was crazy. I do have to say, though, before I get too much into the video, the drive down here I absolutely love. We'll talk about that more when I get on the trail. I'll tell you more about that too. But on the way here, I love the drive, but right before I parked at the trailhead in this town, I ran over a squirrel. So RIP little Sammy the squirrel. I tried to not hit you, tried to get out of the way, but you were just dead set on being dead. So let's get a moment of silence for Sammy the squirrel. I hope he lived a long life. I don't know what the average lifespan is of a squirrel in small town Indiana, but I feel like he went too soon, and may God have mercy on his soul, and also may God have mercy on my soul for ending him purely by accident. Okay, so this alley is going to get us back to where we were. I was checking out trail links, which, by the way, if you're an e-biker or a biker or a walker or a nosy person or a person that has dogs that barks with people on e-bikes, there's a big boy right there. We're going to go straight. Too much muddy water in the area, but yeah, check trail links out. It's really good. Except the only problem is it lies. So I've been following on Facebook and other social media accounts. I like to follow anything to do with trails, rail trails. Indiana is really trying to get on it when it comes to making rail trails, which is amazing. So I've heard about this area and this town had made a portion of a rail trail, and it was almost impossible to try to figure out how big it was. Look at that little modular / cabin there. That's perfect. I need something like that. But I could never get a concrete answer because there's different sections of this trail, and I know at some point in the future, which I probably won't live to see. Oh man, that house is not gonna live to see much longer either. Wow. But I know they want to like just combine everything, and this trail, like they want to make it a huge trail, combine a bunch of different trails. But I couldn't figure out exactly the link, so I thought it's a nice little park. I thought it was 8 miles, so you know it's 35 minutes away from my house. I love the drive, which makes me want to come down here anyways. So I thought, you know, why not come out here on a Sunday? When I left, it was 45 degrees, which is cooler than what it's been. But you guys can see the sun's out, so no fog, no rain. 45 is not terrible, but it's warmed up a bit. So here's this trail. Let's get on the trail and let's see what we got here. But I had a hoodie on. You guys can probably see the little orange all over the t-shirt. But I took it off, and now I probably should have put it back on real quick there. But anyways, hi. This is where I would typically tell you the name of the trail. I have no idea. After extensive research, I believe this trail is only 2.5 miles long. So did I drive 35 minutes one way and gonna drive 35 minutes back to ride a 2.5 mile trail? I think so. But you know, I guess we can do it there and do it back. That makes it 5 miles. We can ride through the town a little bit like I did to extend a little bit. So I mean, we can get a video out of it, but kind of disappointed. I thought I was at least gonna get 8 miles, but no, I guess 2.5 is what we're gonna do today. So don't expect a whole lot of editing on this video, maybe a little bit, but with it being such a small trail, there's no reason why I'd have to edit much of it out. We're probably gonna be able to put out a 20-ish minute video. Hi. But there's another town, and you know, we may check it out also. There's another town in this area. There's a bunch of small towns, like I don't know the population, but super tiny. And like eventually, again, this is all gonna connect. There's supposed to be like a bridge. I've always loved this bridge. I remember being a kid and just going over it. I've always liked like old school iron bridges. So Trail Links has that one, has 0.2 miles. I'm pretty sure that's just a bridge that they built a path on or created a path on. But if it's not too far, maybe we can check it out as well. So, and clearly the trail has gone from paved to this crushed gravel. I think this might be the new part of the trail. I'm not entirely for sure. But it is just before 3 o'clock. So another late start on the day. Thank God, though, we did go through daylight savings time, so lost an hour of sleep. That'll probably do me in one day, but that's okay because we gained an hour of daylight. So that means that during the week, if we have some nice weather days, I'll have an extra hour to get out, and that'll make me want to ride more. So instead of being dark at 6:30, you know, we may be able to get to about 7:30. So, you know, just another step forward towards getting out of winter and getting closer and closer to spring, and then of course closer and closer to summertime. I say this in a lot of videos, when you have like decent weather, when the sun's out and when it's somewhat warm, especially after going through winter, you get more energy, and you know, sometimes you just don't want to get out here when the weather's that cold. And when it's super foggy, because again, I've played too many PlayStation 1 video games to know nothing good happens in fog when you're out all alone. All right, so this is pretty cool. This is new. Is this where it ends? Seriously? Seriously, people? Is this the end of the trail? I guess it is. That was 2.5 miles. But you know what? That was the best 2.5 miles of my life. Let's go ahead and do it again, boys. So this is what I've seen in a YouTube and a Facebook post. This section right here. Let's actually keep an eye on it. So 2.3 miles. We'll see exactly how long it goes. I literally about rode off this trail right here. The sides are big gravel, and I wasn't paying attention, so note to self, always pay attention on an e-bike. On my way here, I did stop at and first off, a bar / restaurant is going to be fantastic when it looks like it's falling apart. That's the first thing. The floor is crooked, and I don't mean like slightly. This thing was like all the way down to the left. Like I felt like I could water slide on their floor. And you walk in and it's smoking, and the bartender / cook / greeter / dish girl is sitting. No one's in the establishment, and she's sitting there vaping at the same time while she's smoking. So that has to be the top of the line when it comes to small town, out in the middle of the boondocks, bars, restaurants. But this place is famous, and I'm completely honest, they're like well known for their tenderloins. And Indiana itself is well known for its tenderloins, but I've heard about this bar forever, and they were open a few miles from this place, so I thought, you know what, why not go check it out? So I checked it out. I ordered the tenderloin, and oh my God, take a look. I'm gonna try to put a video in here. If not, I've got a picture, but take a look at this. That thing is the size of the sun. That thing could feed a small country for 6 months. I love how they put the bun on top just to show you how big it is. It's like, okay, what the hell am I gonna do with one bun? So I got that sandwich. I cut it into fours, and I did eat the one bun, but I could barely eat a fourth of it. So I've got to carry out with like 77% of the tenderloin left in it, so my dogs can get a nice treat. Came with fries, which didn't touch. I don't know what that was, something to my right there. Get this dude on a scooter. Speed racer right there, couldn't even say hey or hello or anything. But this sandwich was huge, and I didn't like the fries. Unfortunately, I'm a picky eater. You wouldn't know it by the 180 pounds I carry around on this 4'2" frame. But for that sandwich, which easily could feed 4 adults, easily. If you have kids, it could probably feed 6 kids. For the sandwich, I had a Mountain Dew, a cup of Mountain Dew, and the fries, which I didn't touch. It was like $17, so it's a super good deal, especially. Especially if you're going in there with multiple people, you can feed your wife and little Johnny for $17. And then I had a tipper because I was truly impressed with the ability to vape and smoke a cigarette at the same time, and also provide conversation with a floor that was going to fall apart. So Mecca Tavern, if you're ever in Indiana, here we go. So if you are ever in Midwest Indiana, you know what? Make a trip of it. There is a state park relatively close, which this is part of the reason why, as soon as I found out this was only 2.5 miles, I still wanted to come down here, because I love the drive down here. Let's see if we can extend the ride a little bit here. Let's go all the way down. But the ride, you get to drive past Turkey Run State Park. If you're someone in the state of Indiana watching this, which I know there's a few of you, nice little 4-way stop here. you've probably heard of it. It is a really awesome state park. It's about an hour-ish away from Indianapolis. It's like 30 minutes from me, if that. So lots of memories there. Also, you get to drive through like Amish country. So you will drive past a few Amish houses. Every now and then you'll see a horse and buggy. True story about the Amish, and I've only told this story to 37 people, so feel privileged that you're going to hear this story. When I was a kid, we grew up like 15 minutes south of where I live now. We lived out in the country. I need to make a video out there. I think I did one time and I got rid of it. I can't remember. But we were like 10 minutes from the Amish. And I recall a few times going out there on weekends with my dad, and I think he would get vegetables. Amish know how to throw down in a garden, so we would go grab like tomatoes and stuff like that. And I remember, and to this day, it's like my 15th biggest regret in life. There was the family that we bought the fruit off of, the fruit and vegetables and all that good stuff. They had a daughter that was probably right around my age, maybe a year or two older than me. I'm probably like 10, 11. So, I'm a 10-year-old full-grown man at that point. And, hormones are starting to come in a little bit, and I'm starting to look at girls a little different than what I did a few years before that. I also dig cemeteries, so let's check this one out real quick. But they had a daughter, and I'm going to be honest, I was in love. I remember going there at least 3 or 4 times and like seeing her, and I was just fascinated. He's a good boy. Hi. It's a good looking dog. And I remember like every time she would be the one that would take our money, and I was so fascinated because I'm like what kind of world does she live in? They were Amish, but I think they were, and unfortunately I haven't studied up on my Amish history, but I know there's different types of Amish, and I thought there was a road here and there's not. And I'm going to turn around because I'm not going to disrespect these people. I'm going to stay on the road. But I recall like just being amazed by the lifestyle. They were like the type of Amish though that did have some modern things. I don't think they had electricity. Their house was like falling apart. I'm pretty sure it's actually like abandoned now. And she probably has like 15 kids by now as well. But I think they had like a van, like a big van. You know how Amish will drive big vans? Yeah, they were that type of Amish. But yeah, I was in love. So Amish woman from 30 years ago, I hope you're doing well. You're still Amish. Way to carry on the family tradition. If you got out of the Amish life, hopefully you didn't become a hoochie Amish mama, and hopefully you found love. But I was able to, on the way here, before we got to Turkey Run, I was able to pass that house. So every time I'll go to Turkey Run or I'll drive down that highway, I always kind of remember the love I had for the random Amish woman. So the drive alone was worth it for me to, let's go this way, to drive down here. There's something about the people that live near the Turkey Run State Park. A lot of them will like make living off of stuff to do with the park. I don't know as much now as I did when I was a kid. I think it's probably changed a little bit, but like there was a general store, and like I'm talking like straight out of like the 1950s type of general store. There was a little souvenir place. They had kayaking and canoeing and tubing, which they still do. You get on a big bus and they drive you like 30 miles away, and you can do the long day canoe trip all day, which is where like you got like 6 hours to go back to where you were. Or they've got like a 3-mile one. There's a church there. But yeah, so Turkey Run State Park, go check it out. There's a tavern, Harrison's Tavern, family owned since 1981. I mean, I guess that's something to brag about. I mean, I guess that's been a long time now, but that tavern I went to earlier with the Tenderloin, I think it said like 1890. Hello. Which would explain the curved roads, or which would explain the slanted floor. You know what? Let's do this one more time. Let's make we've been riding for 22 minutes almost, so let's extend it just a little bit and take the trail one more time. I don't know, it's pretty neat. I mean, it's nice to have another trail to ride. I don't know if this is something I would ever make a whole day out of it again. This is something though that, like, you know, late winter, 50-degree weather I'll come to. This is not something I would probably come to though when we're rocking the 75 and above for days and days. And you know, I like getting the bike out though, and I like being able to haul it. I don't know, maybe that makes me weird. I get a lot of pleasure out of like cleaning the bike up, putting on a bike rack, watching it bounce up and down, worrying it's gonna fall off, and then noticing I'm going 80 miles an hour and it's perfectly fine. So it's so simple, and that bike rack is fantastic. Maybe this week I'll do a little like 1 year review. It's not been quite a year yet, but we're getting pretty close. One of the best investments for the e-bike and the channel that I've ever made. It allows me to open up and do things like this. I think it is very important if you have an e-bike and you're of a certain mindset like I am. Let's get past this guy here. You know, if you're just wanting to ride locally and stuff like that, and maybe you're in a bigger town where you have a whole lot of other options, great. Maybe you don't really need to go other places, or maybe you're able to just ride your bike there. But you know, everyone is not that lucky. So just that e-bike rack just has really allowed me to go to different places and small towns. Like I never understood why people, before I started watching e-bikes, or when I first got an e-bike, you know, I would watch YouTube videos of people that would be like, oh, let's take it to this small town or whatever. Even a town like this, like I said, it's like a half hour away, maybe 35 minutes. So it's not a very long trip, but you know, I've never really been to this town. And not only can I go through the town a little bit, and you know, I love history, and I love like these small ass towns that like have these old abandoned buildings that have signs on them, and you know, 30, 35, 40 years ago they were booming businesses. And you know, then that is it an Alan Jackson song about the little man, you know, like these big companies killing the little man? But you know, all these little companies and little stores and family businesses that thrived years and years ago, you know, now they're just eyesores. Hate to say it, but I mean, nothing wrong with an eyesore. It gives me something to talk about. But I mean, my town's, you know, we got the same thing. A lot of the buildings on the square, luckily most of them have been like refilled with new businesses and stuff. But I mean, we got a building that literally fell apart about a year ago, and it's still like just rubble. All right, so this is the end of the trail, guys. All right, let's do it one more time. We'll finish it, and we'll go ahead and finish the video. And yellow things, I hate you. Made it through, guys. So I don't know, guys, but anyways, thank you for spending your time helping me waste my time. Good Sunday. Thanks for watching. And also, I can't forget my secret stealthy YouTube subscriber battle with an unknown nomadic guy in Florida. He's still kicking my butt. So if we can get a few subs off of this, every little bit helps. So subscribe if you like the content, and I'll see you in the next one.